It's time for the Douglas Coleman Show. Smooth and Savvy is joined by Light and Fluffy for an hour of talk, music, and fun, along with our own Periscope Girl. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Smooth and Savvy himself, Douglas Coleman.
Hey, ho, 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 ho. Heidi, Heidi, ho. Welcome to the Douglas Coleman Show. It's me, Douglas Coleman. How are you? How are you? We got a good show for you today. We've got two guests up. The first one is an author named Richard Lowe, who has written two books, one on computer security and the other one on surviving natural disasters. So he will be up first, and then our second guest, the second half of the hour, we will have a returning guest, a young man named Jared Martinez, who has the distinction of being on the first Douglas Coleman Show. And he's a returning guest. He's a musician and also business entrepreneur, and he's going to be talking about some of his new ventures. So excited to have him on. But first, a couple of announcements to make. One, our co-host Cindy Diadamo is taking some time off. She's got holiday things to do and just generally busy with things in her life. So she will be off for a little while. So I will be doing this thing all by myself. I'll be just talking to you rather than talking to her. And DJC Productions has a new show coming out, premiering on December 3rd, called The Dusty Cover Show, which I'm real excited about. That's a Thursday. It'll be on 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. UK time. So look forward to that. Dusty's first guest will be author and musician Ed Drury. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. So look forward to that. Also, in association with the Dusty Cover Show, we are having a drawing, an Amazon drawing for a $20 gift card. If you go to Spreaker, SPREAKER.com/user/Dusty Cover Show, and you follow the show, you will be automatically entered to win the $20 Amazon card. Once we get to 100 followers, we will do the drawing. We will shut off the drawing, and we will pick a name. We will put all the 100 people from the followers list into a fishbowl, pick the name, and announce it on my show, on Dusty's show, and announce it on all the social media. Then you will have 24 hours to contact us to claim your prize. If we do not hear from you within 24 hours, we will draw again. We won't have your name in the bowl, and we will draw from the other 99 people that are in there until we get contacted by somebody within 24 hours. So you need to pay attention for this drawing because it's not just one of these you can forget about. You've got to be listening to the show. You've got to know when the drawing's going to be, but it's your chance to win $20 from Amazon. So please go to the Dusty Cover Show on Spreaker and follow her. Well, I think I hear our Periscope Girl calling in now. She was ill last week, but she has recovered and has a new report for us. So let's go to Periscope Girl. Hello, Periscope Girl.
Periscope Girl reporting. Ahoy, Cindy. Thank ye kindly, Captain, for asking after my health. But I'm all ship-shape now, and mighty fine, and been sailing in fair weather. Apart from me octopus Jenny steering us slightly off course, it seems that her legs had a disagreement with each other in the direction to be going. Blast me barnacles. There's some fair grand news for Periscope this week. Yar! As we stumbled upon the site Catch Me, which is free to sign up. Just use your Twitter account, and it automatically logs you on. Yar! It's a fair dinkum place that grabs your periscopes up from the web and transports them to your very own landing page. Catches them like a fish in a net. Grrr. Even can be configured to post both your Twitter account and your Facebook. That is, if you care for such a thing. The site is easy to find, although I think Jenny might have some trouble finding it. She's been losing a lot of things recently. Yo ho ho. To find yours, go to www.catch.me and add your username. Yeah! And it stores all your scopes forever, like pirate treasure. so all your crew and your shipmates can go and see your adventures, and grand adventures they be too. Shiver me timbers. Yo ho ho, so this is all the news I have for today, Captain. Got to go now and make sardines on toast for me octopus Jenny. Over and out.
Okay, Periscope Girl, thank you for that great report. And maybe you need to give Jenny a couple of submarine driving lessons so she doesn't put you off course again. Anyways, we will be right back with Richard Lowe after this commercial message.
Hi there, this is Stuart Epps from the UK, record producer, engineer. You might have heard of me. I've worked with artists from Elton John to Led Zeppelin to Bad Company, Twisted Sister, Robbie Williams, Oasis, many, many great bands and artists in the past and the present and hopefully in the future. But you can work with me as well. You know, all you got to do is get in touch with me on eppsmusicproductions.com. That's EWPSproductionsmusic.com. And I can help you with your productions and with your recordings. A lot of people do home recordings now, which you can only take so far. Maybe they need a bit of professional help. So get in touch with me and we can sort it out. And thanks for Douglas Coleman for giving me the spot. Thanks a lot. Cheers, bye.
Okay, with me today is author Richard Lowe, who is a computer security expert and ghostwriter. Richard currently has 2 books out. One is called Safe Computing is Like Safe Sex, and the other one is called Real World Survival Tips and Survival Guide. A little background, Richard learned about computers and computer security the hard way by having to protect and salvage systems ravaged by viruses and hacked by hackers. He has been helping people with computer problems for decades and can share tips to save your valuable data, time, and finances. Please welcome Richard Lowe. So how are you, Richard?
I am doing fantastic, thank you.
Great.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Can you just give us a little background on yourself, please? You know, just tell us how you got involved with this and how you became a computer security expert and now an author.
Well, let's see, back in 1980, I started working for a startup company, got lucky and became vice president of consulting for that company. Even back then, we had security concerns, and then moved on and became vice president consulting of another company, and then finally wound up at Trader Joe's and stayed there for 20 years, where one of my primary duties was computer security, because Trader Joe's has credit card numbers, and those all need to be protected, because we don't want those to get out, do we?
No.
What I did there was every single year there's an audit by security experts to determine if our credit card data was secure. And I was one of the ones in charge of that audit. Several hundred points, and it's not like an 80% pass. You have to pass every single one. So it's quite rigorous. Plus, we had desktops and laptops and cell phones and all the usual stuff that has security issues. So I became very interested in it out of necessity. And then 2 years ago, I realized that I didn't need to actually work anymore at a full-time job like that. So I took an early retirement and moved to Florida, and now I'm a professional full-time writer, making a pretty good living at it.
Oh, that's fantastic. I know most people are concerned about computer security. Certainly everyone has a computer these days. So it's something that's very relevant to, I would say, most people's lives. Can you tell us a little bit, what are some ways that hackers can gain access to your computer?
Well, hackers almost always, many times, depend upon what's called social engineering. And what that is attempting to make you believe that they are something they're not. For example, you've all heard of the Nigerian scam. Somebody will say.
Yes, the postal money order one.
Or, well, there's a whole bunch of variations.
Okay.
It's also called the advanced fee scam. Somebody will send you something saying they have a job available and you need to float some money to pay for the entrance fee, and then they're just scamming you. That's social engineering. One thing that's quite common at supermarkets and other stores is somebody will come in dressed up in a uniform and say, we have to replace the credit card swipe. Well, they're actually hackers who are putting on their own credit card swipe, and sometimes that's not caught, and then the hackers got all the credit cards that go through that swipe. For normal people and their computers, it's typically through email or websites and clicking on bad links and going to the bad websites and making a bad decision about what to look at.
In other words, if somebody sends me an email and I click on a link and that link somehow gets into my computer system, it launches some kind of a virus or something that attaches itself to my computer?
Yeah, one type of virus is called one type of infection is called a drive-by infection. What that means, all you have to do is look at a website, just look at it, and your system will become infected if you're not taking proper security precautions. So you will get a virus simply by opening a website. So what you have to do is learn what kind of websites to go to, what not to go to, and what links to click on and what not to click on, and how to do that. And my book goes over that information for you.
So the virus, is this something that somebody could control from the other end? In other words, if I send some kind of a program to you and you open it up and it installs on your computer, does that all of a sudden give me access to all of your personal information that's stored on your computer?
It's far worse than that. What happens is the virus typically is, you could think of it as a workbench. It installs on your system and it gives a hacker complete access to your system. He could install a keylogger, which lets him see everything you type. He could take it over your video and actually watch you, listen to you on audio. But even worse, he could join your computer to what's called a botnet. And what a botnet is hundreds of thousands or even millions of computers that are joined together, which the hacker then sells. So he sells your computer resources to people who send out spam, to do denial of service attacks on other countries, to do anything you want. If you're a criminal and say you want to send out 100,000 spam messages, you pay somebody for an hour of 1,000 computers on a botnet, and you send out those spam messages from 1,000 different computers. It becomes very difficult to trace. So not only is a virus affecting you, but it's adding you to basically a product that the hackers then offer to sell to other criminals.
Okay, one question I've always been curious about is how do you determine, or, like on Yahoo Mail or a lot of different mail servers, that you have a spam folder that you can designate. How does the computer, or how does it recognize what's spam and what's not spam?
Well, it could be from what's called a bad neighborhood. Emails that come from Nigeria, for example, would probably be marked as spam. It could be patterns of the way it's written, misspellings and things like that. There's also common things where they'll have a link to a website and that website's known to be bad, or a picture, the picture's known to be bad. So it's patterns. It's doing pattern recognition.
It says here that you learned the hard way by having to protect and salvage systems ravaged by viruses and hackers. How do you begin to salvage a system that's been, well, first of all, when a system gets wrecked by a virus or a hacker, is there anything left? How do you even begin with the process like that?
Well, it kind of depends on what kind of virus or hacker has damaged the system. It could be as simple as putting in a CD with a recovery tool and say, recover the system. It could be as complex as the system's toast, take it into the trash. It just depends on the virus and how deep the infection is. Usually you have to call in an expert. If you buy Norton or one of the other antiviruses, they usually give you access to one of their experts to help you get the virus off. Geek Squad does that, a number of other places. It's not something for the faint of heart. Yeah, it's generally not something that your average person's going to be able to do, and you wouldn't even want to try. The viruses are very well hidden, and they're all over the place on your system. So you delete it here, and it comes back, and it can be a nightmare to fix unless you know exactly how that virus works, which the antivirus companies and various professionals do.
Well, I know I don't think I've had any major viruses on my computer, but I've certainly had adware stuff. Got in there, and then every time I opened up the browser, I'd get all these crazy things popping up all over the place. Mm-hmm. The other one that I remember getting several times, not recently, but was the one that somehow it gets into your system, and then you open up one window, and like 50 windows open up all at once.
Mm-hmm.
That one seems to be common. I know a few friends that have gotten that one, but those are the only ones that I've had. I mean, more annoyance viruses than anything that did any real damage.
One of the nasty ones is called ransomware. And you'll be cruising around the web, innocently looking at websites, and you'll get this pop-up that says we're scanning your system. Your system has been infected by 42 viruses. Click here to download the antivirus software.
Oh, I've seen that one actually. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. You need to go into Task Manager and kill that, or some other way. Don't click on anything, because if you do, what that will do is install what's called ransomware. It will encrypt everything on your disk, meaning you cannot access it anymore, and then demand money to unlock your disk. And I don't know about you, but I'm not going to trust a criminal that I just gave $500 to unlock my disk.
Yeah, ransomware. That's a good name. Yeah.
And when that happens, you're pretty much throwing away everything on that computer.
Okay. Well, yeah, I've actually have seen that one on several occasions, but I've never clicked on them. What can you recommend to people to remain safe? Your book has a nice title. I like that. Safe Computing is Life, Safe Sex. Essentially, you have to put a condom on your computer. Is that correct?
Well, it's more about processes and procedures. And that's why I equate it to safe sex. It's change your habits. Be aware of what's out there. Install a firewall. Don't click on links in emails. The first thing I recommend, the absolute first thing anybody needs to do is back up their system. There's various backup programs that are totally automatic and will back up to the web for you. Get one of those on your systems right away, because then if worse happens to worse and your system is destroyed by a virus or a fire or somebody steals it, at least your data's safe up in the cloud. And that's the most important thing, is all those pictures you've taken for 10 years and your taxes and the book you've been writing forever and everything else you've got saved on there. You want it safe. Back it up. Something like Carbonite or LiveDrive, I think they're $70, $80 a year. They'll back it up for you.
Well, what about just backing up your data on a memory stick or memory card or something like that?
Well, that's useful unless your house burns down.
So well, that's true. Yeah.
If you back it up to the cloud, you're saved against everything. I mean, there's always the possibility that there could be a problem on the cloud. There could be a security breach there or something like that, but you got to trust somebody.
Well, now the cloud I saw that when Windows 10, when we all got the upgrade for Windows 10, and it said, do you want to back up all your data on the cloud? And I said, no. What exactly is it? I just didn't want my stuff going out to somewhere I didn't know about. But it's just a huge data storage place? Who runs that?
Well, the cloud is really just a word that means computers out on the internet. You could call Facebook is kind of a cloud, or photo storage or backups. What it really means is it's stored on the internet in a computer room that's secure instead of on your computer. That's all it means. So storing data, backing up data to the cloud means you're backing it up to Microsoft or Amazon, probably Amazon in a lot of cases, or Google, to their big, massive, hundreds of thousands of disk drives that they have in these huge computer rooms that go on for miles, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, they're massive computer rooms, and they're just disks.
All right, well, that's good to know. So is there any of the particular antivirus softwares that you recommend to people, like one better than the other? Or
the major ones are pretty much all alike. Norton is the one I use. McAfee's pretty good. You also want to have two of them. There's one called Malwarebytes. Symantec Norton is antivirus. Malwarebytes is what's called anti-rootkit, and that rootkit is a kind of malware that can bury itself in the operating system where you can't find it. And Malwarebytes kind of complements Norton so that they kind of help each other. If you ask Norton, they say you don't need it. But I have found Malwarebytes to be one of the better. But if my system was infected, the first thing I'd do is pull out Malwarebytes and try and disinfect it. It's very, very good.
What does it do exactly?
Well, it's the same thing as any antivirus. It scans your system for particular kinds of malware and removes them. But Malwarebytes just tends to be a little bit deeper into your system.
Okay.
It goes to those hidden places a little bit better.
Why are there so many hidden places in computers?
Because it's extraordinarily complex. And I believe me, I'm technical. I can go into the guts of the thing, and millions of lines of code doing video and audio and documents and games and God knows what else. And it's written over many, many, many years by many, many, many thousands of people. So it becomes very complicated.
I mean, I'm no expert, believe me, but I've, reinstalled Windows a couple of times, and I mean, that's probably as deep as I've ever gone. It just seems to me that, if there's something on your computer, whatever it is, you end up seeing it in about 100 different places in different areas of the computer. Like one photo will be on 6 different places somewhere in the system. And I never understood why.
Well, if you're, let's say you're web surfing the internet and you go to a website and it downloads a photo, that photo is displayed in your browser. It's stored in the browser temporary files. Then if you save a copy of it, it's stored in your folder. And then if you have backup software set, is stored in the backups. And then it might store a copy somewhere else for speed purposes. So it could be in multiple places on your computer.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I've done I've lost photos. Sometimes I've saved a photo and then I didn't really pay attention to where it's saved. And when I went back for it a couple days later, it wasn't there where I thought it was. So when you do the search, it seems to come up in a few spots, and that was always confusing to me. It was never the spot I remembered it being in, but it ended up being in, some other crazy places that I never heard of on the computer. Okay, I want to talk just a little bit about your other book. Your other book is called Real World Survival Tips and Survival Guide. Now, I must admit, when I first saw that title, I thought of, the guys that go out in the woods that disconnect themselves off the grid to everyone, and the ones I'm talking about, the ones that just want to disappear from the world and have lots of canned soup and ammunition and live in a log cabin, that kind of thing.
I know what you mean.
I'm guessing your book isn't really like that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is exactly?
Well, that book is for the average person, you and me, who want to, instead of being afraid of a hurricane or an earthquake or a tsunami or a fire or whatever, would like to learn about it, prepare for it, and be ready for it. Because what I do with both the computing book and survival tips is the idea is there's a lot of dangers, and you can either be afraid of it, you can just ignore it, or you can learn about it and protect yourself. It's a lot better to learn about it and protect yourself than to live in fear. So my survival book goes through things like be aware of your surroundings. Like when you go into a theater, note where the exits are. Simple as that. Just look, where are the exits and where are the people? So if there's a fire in the theater, you need to go backwards to the exit on the right because everybody's in the front. Go through your house and go into each room and just sit there for 1 minute. And if there's a fire, how do I get out? Oh, wow, I'm on the 3rd story. I have no idea how I get out. Okay, fix that. I've got an invalid mother. How do I get her out in a fire? You just go through and think of those things and then sit down with the family and come up with a plan, including the kids, and come up with a plan, all of you working together. Okay, kids, you're at school. There's an earthquake. I'm at home. What do we do? And if your kids know what to do, they're not going to be afraid, and you'll know they're safe because they know they've talked it over with you and they know what to do. Kids are smart.
This is about natural disasters, or
any kind of disaster.
So, what would you recommend people do in, let's say, a hurricane? How do you prepare for that?
Well, the way you prepare for any disaster is you create what's called a bug-out bag. And a bug-out bag is usually a duffel bag or something like that. Make sure it's on wheels so you don't have to carry it around and make your arms get tired. And fill it with a day's worth of supplies, maybe 2 if you can, a change of clothes, a bit of money, some food, usually MREs, the meals ready to eat, or granola bars or something that won't rot. Maybe some water. I tend to keep the water separate because water leaks.
It's also heavy.
It's heavy, so
Yeah.
I keep a 5-gallon jug in the car, and just anything you might need. First aid kit. I have a second book that's a companion volume that has an inventory of what should be in a bug-out bag and why. You fill it up, and you make one for each person, and then when the police come around and say it's time to evacuate, you grab your bag and go. That's why it's called a bug-out bag or a go bag, and that's where you start. And then you stock up. You want to have 2 weeks of food, 2 weeks of water, because if there's a hurricane, a big one like Katrina or one of the earthquakes, nobody's going to get to you for 2 weeks. You're going to be on your own. So you better make sure that you've got enough food and water and first aid and heat and all the other things that you need to survive in your house, or if you have to, from your bug out bag. And you can do that over time. You don't have to go spend a lot of money. Just instead of buying 1 can of soup, buy 3. Put the cans of soup in your pantry. keep doing that. Eventually, you'll have enough for 2 weeks.
This sounds like the modern day version of the fallout shelters. Do you remember those back in the
I do.
Okay. I remember as a little kid, we had to do these drills, presumably for a nuclear attack. And I always thought it was funny that, we had to get under our desks. Like that was going to help if a bomb came, So this sounds like sort of more of a modern day version. Now, obviously a cell phone would be useless in something like that, right? Do most of the towers survive a hurricane or not?
Well, the problem with cell phones is not the towers. The problem is cell phones communicate to each other and to the phone company over landlines. So
right.
Even though the towers are intact, all of the phone lines between the towers and stuff might be down. Cell phone will probably be gone after a hurricane. When my sister-in-law was lost in Katrina for 2 weeks.
Katrina? Is that the one?
Katrina,
Okay.
That's the one.
Okay.
We couldn't talk to her on the cell phone for 2 weeks. We didn't know whether she was alive or dead until we finally found her.
Wow.
After the World Trade Center collapsed, the cell phones were pretty much dead. And of course, in a terrorist attack, the first thing the police do is cut off cell phones. So that's why you want to have a landline, even going through your internet, to back it up if you can.
The other one I was thinking about was earthquake. I mean, with a hurricane, you do have some preparation time. They know when those are coming. Earthquakes, they don't really. So what could you recommend aside from the bag to prepare for an earthquake? I know for people like living in California, that's a real concern.
Well, one thing that you should do in any state for any disaster is the fire department actually offers a class called CERT, C-E-R-T. You can look it up on Google and it'll tell you the local ones. That stands for Civilian Emergency Response Team, and it's a 7-day class. And they teach you how to survive in that local area, and it's free. I went through it twice, and it's wonderful. It's great that the fire department loves to deliver them, because then they train you how to do exactly what you just said. How do you survive an earthquake? Well, first of all, you get under something big when it happens, like your table, your desk. Ignore the triangle of life. That's going to kill you.
What is that? Triangle of life?
The triangle of life is something somebody decided. He came out with this thing where you get next to a wall instead of under a desk because there's an air gap or something. And the fire department pretty much says don't do that. You want to get under something, under a desk, obviously not a glass desk, because that's something I found when I looked at my house. I have all glass desks. That'll be a problem.
Like a big heavy wooden desk or a dining room table or something like that, right?
Get under something so that things don't, when they don't fall on top of you.
Right.
And stay there. And don't get under a car. It turns out that cars bounce all over the place in an earthquake. I mean, they bounce like crazy. It's amazing.
What about in the car?
If you're in a car in an earthquake, I think I would stay in the car because things are flying around outside. You're probably safer inside the car.
There was the other one that you said, the triangle of life. The other one I remember about an earthquake was they said stand in a doorway.
Yes, that turns out to be bad advice. It comes from a long time ago. If you stand in a doorway, what's going to happen is the door is going to swing open and shut, and it's going to smash your hands and break bones and things like that. You want to get under something. I mean, if you've got no choice, a doorway might work, but you got to be aware that door is going to be swinging. I've been in earthquakes, man. Stuff moves around. That door is going to be swinging hard, and it's going to whack you.
I've never been in an earthquake. I guess I never lived where there were earthquakes, but
they're loads of fun.
How bad. I do remember that movie. How accurate was that movie? Do you remember the one that came out in the 70s with Charlton Heston?
Yes, that was one of my favorite old-time awful movies.
Yeah, those old disaster movies. It was like the Poseidon Adventure and the Towering Inferno, and there was a whole bunch of them that came out in the mid-70s. And
I've seen them all.
So how accurate was that movie as far as, is that really what a major earthquake would be like?
Well, that would be a really major earthquake. They were portraying more like a 9.5 or something, I think. It was huge.
Okay.
Like the one Chile just had.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Or the one Japan had, the 9.2. They were portraying a big earthquake. You know, it probably is relatively accurate. There's all kinds of things that will happen in an earthquake. Dams will break. Bridges are down. Because I remember the earthquake in 1994. One of the bridges went down, the freeway bridges. Or the one up in San Jose where I think it was the Oakland Bay Bridge, or one of the bridges collapsed.
Right, it collapsed right on top of each other, didn't it? Sandwiched.
The Embarcadero, yeah.
Yeah. Listen, tell us where people can find your books, where they can buy them.
I made it very easy. You just go to coolauthor.com, COOL, author, AUTHOR.com, and that brings you to my Amazon page. Or you could go to The Writing King. That will bring you to my website.
Well, listen, thank you very much for coming on the show. This was very enlightening, and I think my listeners will find it very informative as well. Thank you for your time.
Happy to be here.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Ooh, don't know my own strength.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Okay, with me now is a very special guest who has a distinction. Like Michael Ricucci, who was on last week, had the distinction of being the first return guest to the Douglas Coleman Show. This one has the distinction of being the first ever guest on the Douglas Coleman Show. He was on our very first show, our premiere, back in June, which seems like about 100 years ago, but actually it was only a few months ago. Anyways, he's been doing all kinds of wonderful things. He's got a new company that he has started called My Media Managed, and I want to hear all about it. So please welcome back to the show, Jared Martinez. All right. So how are you, Jared? How's things going?
I'm good, Douglas. How are you doing?
Oh, doing just fine. Tell us about My Media Managed. What is that all about?
Sure. My Media Managed is a company providing social media and online presence management for small businesses to mid-sized businesses. Our slogan is, let us handle your social media and online needs so that you can focus on running your business. And in this day and age, there are so many companies today that aren't online, whether that's even a website or social media, and they're missing out on engaging tons of potential clients and audiences and everything.
Oh, well, I would think so. I mean, I think if you have any kind of business at all, being online is almost obligatory these
Right, I mean,
days.
It's 2015 if you're not online.
Yeah, what's your problem?
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy to not be online with what you got. So basically, you're handling online PR for people. That's what
Pretty
the
much,
company's
yeah.
all about. So how's it going? How many do you have clients? And
Good. When we're about to launch, we're probably going to be officially launching in December, like mid-December. We have a couple clients lined up, a restaurant, an audiovisual installation company, as well as a few others. And what I'm really excited about is just to start being able to help other people, because I'm really passionate about helping people, and this is something I feel like I can really help people with. And if they can do better with their businesses, then it's helping provide job stability for them, their employees, and everything. And I feel like putting something good into the world is just helpful for everybody. You know what I mean?
well, I agree. And, there's the old saying about you get back what you give. However, having said that, I'm sure that you're charging people for your service, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not going to be a
This isn't a
free
charity.
service. Right. I mean, down the line, once we have an established clientele base and stuff, I'd be happy to potentially work with like nonprofits and stuff to help support causes that we're passionate about. But going forward from the beginning, it's going to be important as far as scalability goes to make sure that we are hitting the ground running, so to speak.
Well, yeah, that's true. And we all need to make money, whether
Exactly,
we
especially in
like
Los
it or not.
Angeles.
Well, anywhere, really. I mean, unless you live somewhere where you barter, I think most people need to make money to make a living, to eat, and to pay
Like,
the
I'll
bills.
give you this chicken for this bedroom.
Well, exactly. All right, well, give me an example. Like, okay, I come to you and I say, hey, Jared, whatever my business is. I've got a store of some kind, a shop.
Sure.
Like I'm a mom and pop shop, maybe I sell hardware or fish tanks or something like that. Okay. I'm not online. I have no idea how to work Twitter or Facebook or any of that kind of stuff. So what are you going to do for me?
So the first thing we would do, and this is kind of what sets us apart from everybody else, is we would work one-on-one with you to A, go over your goals, and then B, develop a custom campaign, not just for online, but how to engage your customers in person and online, what I call like cross-engagement, so that they feel incentivized to be participating in person and to be interacting online at the same time. So if you're like a hardware store, maybe that's reaching out to past clients that have done good business with you, seeing if we can promote together and give them a discount for future purchases by letting them do like a testimonial and sharing it on their employees' pages or something like that. We get very hands-on with your promotional campaigns, where a lot of companies doing what we do will just set up a Facebook for you, set up a Twitter, and post a couple times a week. Our goal is to get 100% into what your goals are, figure out how to execute it, and then repeat.
What would you charge me for something like that?
Well, depending on what kind of promotion you need, the starting points are usually about $400 a month, and that's just organic growth. Still includes the custom campaign creation, set up the accounts for you, handle the basic website design and maintenance if you need that, and that also helps create the mobile optimized website as well. So you're ready to go online, you're just not setting aside a specific paid marketing budget combined with it. So you can do all that for just $400 a month with My Media Managed.
Okay, well, that doesn't sound outrageous by any stretch. So if I decide, would you teach me how to post on my Twitter and my Facebook if I have no idea how to do that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the things that I also want to make sure that we're doing for the companies we work with is training the staff, whether that's just you, the owner, as the only employee there, employer, employee. I want to make sure that you know how to engage with your customers as well. I'm setting up the page, I'm managing it for you, but when customers are posting maybe reviews or they have questions online, it's important, I think, for the actual owner and the people that are running the store to help be the point of contact between the customers and coming back again.
Well, it's interesting because what you're doing is a little bit different, but I just started a production company last month called DJC Productions.
Right.
And what I'm doing is I'm setting up online radio shows for people who want their own show, but don't maybe have the time or the technical expertise to handle all aspects of the production. So,
or time.
Or the time. So what I do is basically they provide the content. They record their interviews with people. They send them to me. I edit them down. I set up a website for them. I do their Twitter and their Facebook promoting, and I run their show. So whatever time they want their show to be on, I will run it. So all they got to do is just come into the chat room and talk to people. So that's kind of what I've been doing. So it's similar but different, little different product, but that's cool. That's good.
We're both helping people.
Yeah, and making a few dollars on the side to,
of course, always important
to do that. But and it's also something I like to do. I mean,
exactly.
It's not some grueling job that you do just because you have to. Enjoying your work is really half the battle, I think, because you take a look at how many people are out there that go to this job every single day and they absolutely hate it. And they want to get out and they've got a miserable boss, but they can't because they got bills to pay, they got a mortgage, they got kids, they got whatever.
Right.
And, life is too short. I mean, I kind of did that already for 20 years. At the end of that, I said, you know what? I'm just going to do what I'm going to do because I like to do it. If I can make money, great. It's so important to be happy in what you're doing every single day because
I totally agree.
Yeah. Otherwise, what's the point? I don't see being miserable as a good reason to be on this planet. All right. Well, your company sounds great. That sounds interesting. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
You were in Alabama over the summer. I remember we talked a little bit online while you were there.
Yes. It was beautiful.
How was that? What did you do while you were there? Well, first of all, how long were you there?
I was there for 7 weeks.
Okay. And you said your dad lives there, right?
That's correct. He recently moved there from Louisiana.
Okay. So what did you do for 7 weeks?
For 7 weeks, the first few weeks while we were waiting to move into the new house, we were staying at a extended stay Marriott, and lots of sun, lots of swimming, lots of good food. What I did a lot of actually was taking the bus into downtown Birmingham, which has a booming brand new music scene. So I was doing a lot of networking while I was there. I hoped to play a couple shows, but I guess during the summer they typically get pretty booked out far in advance. So I was a little bit behind the gun in that aspect. But I got to meet a lot of really great people, saw some great shows. You know what's cool about Birmingham, Alabama? You've heard of the restaurant Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
So Chick-fil-A in downtown Birmingham, it's called the 4 Point South location. They actually have live music out on the patio.
Oh, all right. What I heard about Chick-fil-A wasn't necessarily great publicity, but, they had that whole bit about when the gay marriage thing was happening, and I guess they came out really staunchly against it, and they got some bad PR as a result of it. But I've never actually eaten there. I don't know if their food's any good or not.
I like the food, but I try not to base my opinion of a company on like what's going on with the PR, because it seems like every single company has something going on.
Well, yes and no. I mean,
yes and no, exactly. But
yeah, I would think that. See, the one thing that I think that is that companies, if they're a public company, which I don't know if they are, I think they might be privately held.
Maybe.
But I think it's just bad politics to express your views if you're a company, because that's not why people buy your product.
Right. I totally agree with that.
People are coming there to eat your what do they have? Chicken sandwiches?
Yeah, lots of chicken.
Lots of chicken. So, people are coming there to eat your food. That should be your concern. Not.
Yeah, they're going to eat your food, not your political views.
Exactly. And I don't care what you want to believe. In America, we have the right to believe whatever we want to believe. And that's fine, but it doesn't necessarily need to be posted on the front page of your business website.
Or social media profiles.
Right. I just think it's kind of a bad idea. You keep your political views private. You keep your religious beliefs private. You keep all of that. The only thing you post there is about your business. Today we have a new chicken sandwich,
right.
With spicy mayonnaise. Great. That's what you put.
Take a picture with your new sandwich and get 10% off your next order or something.
Right.
I mean, especially with the advent of social media right now, anything that's posted is like in front of millions and billions of people. It's like something bad goes up, a lot of people aren't going to like you anymore.
Oh, you know it. I mean, you don't even have a chance, because once it's out there, it's there. I saw a movie that was really funny that had something like that in it. It's a movie called Chef. Have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't.
Put it on your list because I think you would enjoy it. It stars Jon Favreau, who I like as an actor. I think he's great. Also, Dustin Hoffman's in it. What's her name? Sophie. I keep calling her Sophie Viagra, which I know is wrong.
Sofia Vergara?
That's the one. Yeah. Okay.
Modern Family.
Yes, she's in it. The movie is really good. And at one point, the guy who's the chef, he goes crazy. He leaves. He walks off the job because of a disagreement with the boss, the owner. And then there's a food critic in there who wrote some really scathing thing on Twitter. And he comes back to the restaurant and has a meltdown. And of course, everybody whips out their cell phones and starts videotaping him. And then it goes viral on YouTube. And it was just a very funny scene. But it was in reference to what you were saying, that stuff that goes out on the internet is once it's there, 1 million people can see it in, 10 seconds.
Right. Did you hear about that? Some sort of marketing executive for some big company that assaulted that Uber driver that got caught on camera?
I saw something vaguely about. Why don't you tell that? Because I don't quite remember it.
I don't remember all the details, but I remember 1 second there was nothing. Next second, he was having to make public apologies, this and the other, lots and lots of bad light for his company.
Well, what did he do? He made some kind of racial insults to somebody, or
something like that, and then he started punching the driver.
Oh, great!
And the driver had a camera facing the back seat, so it got all on camera.
Oh, well, see, you never know when there's a camera on you now either.
Exactly.
Everywhere you go.
Everyone has a camera.
Well, and even on the street. I mean, even walking down the street, there's cameras on all the lights and on the intersections and everything. I mean, you don't know. Everybody's watching you. It really has turned into Big Brother. I don't know if you ever read that book, but I remember reading it when I was in high school thinking, wow, this is like science fiction. Well, guess what, folks? It's a reality now.
Oh, yeah.
You really
You
don't
never know.
So you got to be careful what you put out there. Speaking of putting something out there, we got a couple of your songs. Jared is also a musician, which we didn't mention, I think, at the beginning. Let's listen to Not Tonight, because I don't think we've played that one before. All right, you want to tell us anything about that song?
So this song was written when I had just realized I didn't need to pursue a girl anymore. I was investing a lot of time and energy into what I thought was dating her, which turned out wasn't. And then I realized it was time to move on and go find something else to do with my life.
Well, now, is this the same girl as from Lock It Up and from the other song, Do You Really Want to Hurt Me?
Most of my songs are about the same person.
Okay. So you're not seeing her anymore?
No.
Probably smart.
If I do, get ready for another album.
Oh, well, good. Maybe you should go back with her then and we get some more music out of you. Well, this is Jared Martinez and Not Tonight.
I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know who I'm holding tonight. But you don't get to care about me, 'cause you said that you felt nothing. Alright. I guess I'll just move on tonight. I'm so sick of drowning in your lights. Maybe one day you'll understand why, but not tonight. I gave you so many chances, but I don't know what this dance is. I'll try. But you don't get to bat your lashes, 'cause you left me with all these scratches for life. I guess I'll just move on tonight. I'm so sick of drowning in your lights. Maybe one day you'll understand why, but not tonight. I'll just move on tonight. I'm so sick of drowning in your lies. Maybe one day you'll understand why, but not tonight.
Yo, there we go.
Hey.
All right. Oh, I like that one. I particularly like that one, the lyric, drowning in your light. I think that's, it has many different meanings, but it paints up a nice sort of mental image picture.
Thank you. I really do love the lyrics in that song.
Yeah, no, they're very good. And it's, you can dance to this song.
Oh, yeah.
It does have kind of a dancey
when I first
beat.
wrote this song, there are two versions on the album. There's the original one, which is like the typical, like, kind of pop, garage rock kind of sound. Then when I made this remix of it, I also produced the remix myself. I thought it really breathed a whole new life into the track, and I really, really liked it.
I haven't heard the first mix, but I definitely like this one. When we talked, I don't know, a few months ago, you were doing something else. Did you switch gears with My Media Managed? It seemed like you had something else you were doing, and then you were producing music or something else?
A few months ago, I was also working on my music a lot, and I was working on one of my other companies, Respondent Records, which is a production company for people that also helps bring the music to market and stuff.
Okay.
So I've had a few more clients for that.
So you're still doing that?
Oh yeah, I'm still doing that, but I'm really excited to start scaling the new company as well.
So how many companies do you have going at this point?
These two, I'm about to launch another one. The third one I'm about to launch is going to be a lot more self-sustaining, meaning like once I launch it, it'll pretty much be a turnkey business. I don't want to tell you too much about that yet because I'm still ironing out some details.
All right. Can you tell us anything about it? Because now we're all real curious, aren't we?
Sure. It is along the lines of a novelty item, however, is a contingency just in case. Have you heard of the impending zombie apocalypse?
Is that a movie?
No, it's an idea that a lot of people believe is coming in the not too distant future, that there's going to be a zombie apocalypse where there's a large portion of the human population that is not dead or alive but undead, aka zombies. And this is a huge, huge market. Forbes.com said that this is a $5 billion market annually right now.
To cater to these people who believe that this is coming?
Yes, this
Wow.
market encompasses people who are getting ready, like buying all the storage and these underground bunkers that
Oh
are
my
amazing.
God.
Look like they're like full-fledged houses that are underground, and they're stocked with weapons and food and televisions and everything.
Okay, who started this? Who started
Sorry?
this whole rumor?
I'm not sure, actually. I need to look into that, but I know with the show The Walking Dead, it's gained a lot more popularity.
Well, I mean, those movies have been around forever. I mean, the Dawn
Forever,
of the
yeah.
Dead was one. I remember that, you know, the zombies in the shopping mall and, you know, people went in there and started shooting at them. And I just can't believe that $5 billion worth of people are actually believing that this is coming. People have been screaming the end of the world as we know it for centuries.
Oh, yeah.
But it's usually a biblical reference to the apocalypse that's been, you know, that's mentioned in the Bible. I don't think the Bible referenced zombies in any way.
I don't think so either. I mean, Lazarus did come back from the dead, but that
Yeah, but not in a shopping mall and, you know, walking around by J.C. Penney's.
Right.
So, well, okay, so so I guess
with the advance of medical technology and science and stuff, who knows, maybe a super drug might end up escaping from a factory somewhere, and then if it goes to China, you know, there's so many people in China. If it hits China, it's going to hit the rest of the world soon.
True. Well, I mean, chemical warfare is certainly a reality. Whether that leaves everybody in the state of being a zombie, I don't know.
Right. That might be up for discussion. If we can discuss anything, we might all be dead.
Well, okay, so you're going to capitalize on this phenomenon then.
Correct. I would call it viral, but viral has a sense of a fad which doesn't last very long. This has been lasting for quite a while and has no inclination of slowing down.
They had the pet rock in the 1970s. And
Right. And I feel
guy
like this
made
could
millions.
be something along those lines, except not a pet rock.
Well, listen, good luck. When is this coming out? I'm dying to see what it is now.
I'm shooting also for December.
Oh, well, that's pretty soon.
So
Just in
once
time
it's-
for Christmas?
Exactly.
Ah.
You know how it is.
Okay. How much is this thing going to cost? Can you tell us that much?
We're going to have a couple different things. It's going to, for me to give you that specific,
Well, give me a price range then. How about that?
there's going to be a $20 option. There's going to be a $100 option.
Well, maybe I'll buy one. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you never know.
who knows? Well, you please let me know when this thing comes out.
Will do,
Because
yeah.
Now I'm dying to see it. And once it does come out, I'll be happy to tweet it around and share it on Facebook. all
Thank
that
you.
stuff.
Appreciate that.
So what else is going on in your life? You're not married yet, right?
No, not married. I'm 20 years old, working 2 jobs, starting 3 companies, and what is sleep?
You told me that you were a bike messenger or delivery or something, right?
Yeah, I deliver sandwiches. That's my nighttime job. Typically working graveyard shifts for that, which is anywhere from midnight to 4 in the morning.
And you're on a bicycle at that hour?
Oh yeah, people are ordering sandwiches at all times of day these days.
Well, be careful, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
LA is not the most safest place in the world.
We have me decked out like a mobile Christmas tree.
Well, yeah, okay. And hopefully if you can pedal fast enough, you won't get attacked.
Oh yeah, exactly. Especially by zombies, right?
Right. There you go. Well, you know what? We're just like out of time already.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
So I won't get to your other song, unfortunately. But
it's okay. There's always next time.
Yeah. And actually, we played the other song on the first show. So
true, very true.
You know, people have heard it.
Maybe next time I'll have finally finished recording some new songs for you to check out.
Okay, that would be good. Are you working on any right now? Have you got some written? Or?
I have probably close to 8 written. I just need to finish recording and producing them.
You do all your own producing, right?
I do, yeah. I mean, 2 of my songs on my other album I got produced by an amazing producer named Jordan Higgins. He's been working on a lot of big label acts recently. I was very inspired by him and the way he works, and I felt I could try it myself, and it ended up working out pretty well.
All right, well, we look forward to your new music coming out, and good luck with My Media Managed. Do you have a website you want to tell everybody about?
I do, yeah. It's actually www.mymediamanaged.com.
Like I said, I'm dying to hear about this zombie thing, so please keep me in the loop on that one.
Definitely keep in the loop on that one.
All right. Okay, Jared.
All right, Douglas.
Well, that's about all the time we have for the Douglas Coleman Show today. I want to thank my special guest, Richard Lowe, and Jared Martinez for coming on the show. Also, thank you to Periscope Girl. This is Douglas Coleman saying goodbye.